In this video, we're talking about some of the most unique fish out in the ocean. Sort of like this one that'll make you wonder if you were tripping before a dive, and this one that would fit in a certain post-apocalyptic themed game. First though, let's talk about a fish that doesn't swim but actually walks. The handfish. Rocking the ocean floor with its bulging eyes and mohawk-like bold fin, the handfish is a sight to behold. It grows up to 5.9 inches long and has tooth-like scales, earning it the alternative nickname of the warty anglers. However, its appearance isn't the only thing that makes it unique. Unlike other fish, it uses its modified pectoral fins to walk and propel itself underwater instead of swimming. Sadly, one of their species, the smooth handfish, is now extinct according to the IUCN. The usual suspects are to blame: fishing, pollution, habitat destruction, and the spread of the invasive northern Pacific sea star. And to think, only about 200 years ago, tons of them walked around Australia's waters. With the extinction of this species, just 13 other types of handfish remain alive, some of which are very endangered. Granted, it's not all sad. At the end of last year, a rare pink handfish was spotted off the Tasmanian coast for the first time in 22 years. This gives scientists the hope that these creatures are still surviving in the deep than in their shallow water homes. Psychedelic Frogfish. When you're underwater and happen to see a moving swirl of colors, don't worry. You didn't get injected with a hallucinogen. Instead, you saw a psychedelic frogfish. This fish was first described in 2009 in the scientific journal Copia, where researchers wrote of its remarkable pigmentation patterns of whirling white stripes. Due to it being a member of the Lophiiformes, it has no scales. Instead, what covers its fleshy and flabby skin is a protective mucus. And just like other members of its class, the psychedelic frogfish has a luring appendage, though tiny. It moves using its pectoral fins like the entry before, except it also shoots water through its gills to propel itself forward. Given that it has no spikes or toxins, it sounds like easy prey. However, this thing can hide in tight passages, making it unlikely for any predator to actually reach it. Its coloration also helps it camouflage into its surroundings much easier. Right now, it's only found on Ambon Island, Indonesia, near Coral Rubble. So if you'd like to go and see this thing for yourself, book yourself a ticket over to Indonesia and go crazy. Asian Sheepshead Wrasse. Ever wish you could magically be the opposite sex for a day? You know, to understand how it feels like being a guy or a girl? Well, the Asian Sheepshead's Wrasse doesn't have to wonder like the rest of us. Why is that? Because it can shift its gender. You see, the Asian sheepshead is a sequential hermaphrodite by nature. That means that the most prominent or largest of the females can turn into a male if there is a lack of one in the group. This usually happens during their breeding season, as the primary purpose of this ability is to mate. Given that information, many would suspect these species have no population trouble, but they do. Though scientists don't know their exact number, frequent divers and scientists report a decreasing trend in their population. Ironically, it's because of their low reproduction rate, plus the fact that they take a while to grow. Doesn't help that they're delicacies underwater and on land. Hey, at least some of them live to the full, with a few making friends with Japanese divers though. Stargazer. For a fish with a pretty name, they look pretty horrifying. These guys have top-mounted eyes and a large upward-facing mouth. You might actually think it's pretty fun to see them hunt for food, but if you're not careful, you might find yourself getting chomped or electrocuted like this guy. Because of their biology, they have an advantage at ambushing prey. Their habit is to bury themselves in the sand, waiting for something to swim within its reach. Once they find and lock on their target, they immediately leap upwards to bite and eat at it. Some even develop a worm-shaped lure out of the floor of their mouths, which they wiggle to attract their prey. That's not their only advantage, though. Remember when I said you can get electrocuted? Yeah, they have a single electric organ that weirdly consists of modified eye muscles. You get pricked by their spines, be ready for it to zap you away. Surprisingly, however, these fish are delicacies in some cultures and can be found in fish markets with their electric organs removed. Feels more like an acquired taste at this point. The Jawfish. These fish are more ordinary looking than the ones we presented so far, am I right? While I'd beg to differ because of their beautiful colors, it's undeniable they look plainer than the rest. But you see, it's not their appearance that makes them unique. You guys know how fish carry their eggs, right? The eggs remain in the fish's tummies until the mother lays them on the bottom of the ocean or among plants. That's not the case with the jawfish, though. Instead of the women carrying the eggs, the males do. And no, not in a seahorse way. What happens is that the males place the eggs in their mouths to protect them from predators, only releasing the bunch when the fry is ready to hatch. The gestation period depends on the species, but the gold-specked jawfish typically keeps their clutch of eggs for 8 to 10 days before hatching. Hey, at least it doesn't take that long. Gotta say though, they're pretty fortunate. I know a few women who'd probably kill to change places for pregnancy with their husbands, including my own. Flying fish. I think you guys know what makes this fish so unique, am I right? They can fly. Granted, they won't do it as well as birds can, but it's still something that no other fish can really do. These guys can make powerful, self-propelled leaps out of the water and use their long wing-like fins to glide for considerable distances above the water's surface. According to the National Wildlife Federation, the speed they propel themselves out of the water is about 56 kilometers per hour. This in turn allows them to glide in the air for up to 200 meters before they fall back down. They do this because it's their escape mechanism for when a predator arrives, like swordfish, mackerel, tuna, and marlin. Sad thing is that while escaping their underwater killers, they may fall prey to their avian predators like the frigate birds. Tough life for a fish, am I right? Most interesting about them, though, is that their oldest known fossil dates back 235 to 242 million years ago. While different from their modern counterpart, it's a testament to how flying has helped them survive. The stonefish. Be careful where you step when you're underwater. Some animals are tough to spot and you don't want to crush one with your foot. Or worse, find yourself victim to the most venomous fish. Stonefish are masters of camouflage. They can blend into their surroundings so well that prey, predators, and even us humans can have trouble spotting them. If you're a reef fish that finds itself less than a foot away from this predator, expect to die instantly, as powerful, large jaws will clamp down on you. But it isn't only the fish that must be scared of it. Humans gotta be wary of them too, as their stings are excruciating and potentially lethal. You get stung, the most recommended treatments are applying heat to the area and getting a dose of anti-venom. It'll be uncomfortable, but hey, at least you'll live. Sadly, the threat of being stung by one isn't limited to underwater activities. Sometimes these fish can be washed ashore because of waves, meaning we might also step on them in the sand. Ugh. Now it's time for the day's best pick. This one's a bit of a wild entry since there's a bit of confusion on what type of fish this one on the thumbnail is. The giant hogfish. Some of you know about this clip and how they state that the fish is a special parrotfish. However, when examining the comment section, the original poster said it was a giant hogfish. Since he said so, I decided to stick with that. Now that that's settled, let's talk about the giant hogfish. The hogfish is a species of wrasse that occurs around reefs, preferring areas with plenty of soft corals. Currently, this species is the only known member of its genus. These fish are said to have elongated snouts, which they use to find crustaceans buried under the sand. Sort of like how pigs find truffles, hence their name. What makes it unique is that aside from its color and appearance, just like its cousin, the Asian sheephead wrasse, the hogfish is a sequential hermaphrodite, able to change its sex in different life stages. This shift in gender often occurs around 3 years old, pretty early on in life, considering it lives up to 11. Right now, many anglers commonly target hogfish because of its taste and food value. At least, unlike the Asian sheephead wrasse, this one isn't endangered though. Black chimera. Something haunts the depths of Australia's and New Zealand's coasts. Swimming 1,640 to 4,760 feet underwater is the black chimera, a species of ghost shark with a black or dark brown body. Typically, the black chimera can grow to be 26 inches long. Males, however, can reach a total length of 43 inches. They have large eyes, a slightly pointed snout, large dorsal spines, and round pelvic fins. It looks somewhat like an abyssal ghost shark, though the two can be differentiated by the dorsal spine and claspers, which are bigger than the abyssals. Though this nightmare-like fish is sometimes caught as a bycatch, studies show that its population gradually increased from 1990 to 2010. In 2018, the New Zealand Department of Conservation even classified this species as not threatened. This then gave them the qualifier secure overseas. That said, it is less vulnerable in Australia as people catch it far less. Surprisingly, this species is safe to eat and is said to be delicious. Usually it's used as fillets for orders of fish and chips, and it's a miracle then how they're not endangered, given how delicious that dish is. Before we move on, I've got a little challenge for you that'll take 5 seconds to complete. So here's the deal. You just leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell, and you will get 25 years of amazing luck. Try it really works. The boxfish. Bodies come in all different shapes and sizes for us humans, right? Well, the same goes for fish as well. The boxfish is, well, a box-shaped fish. Moving on, it's closely related to the pufferfish and filefishes and has about 23 species in its genus. Boxfishes have many different colors and patterns, though they're most well known for the honeycomb patterns on their skin. Because of their shape, they swim in a rowing-like manner, making them slow, but even then, they got nothing to worry about in regards to predators. This is because, thankfully, these critters have heavily armored scales to compensate for their lack of speed. Aside from that, they also happen to be poisonous, secreting these toxins from their skin into the surrounding water. If a fish hastily tried to eat them, they'd be in for a painful surprise, as their poison resembles that of a detergent, something we humans reel from sometimes too. That said, a few fish still manage to eat them and mostly live. Funny enough, despite their name, the young tend to be more rounded but offer brighter colors than the adults. See you all next time!